It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Humanity Junction. My name is Heath, and this morning is Hangout with Humanity. I thought for this morning I'd do a little bit of video editing. I've been doing some interviews on my Modeling Monday show, and what I like to do is take the interviews and do a little bit of a preview. And I've been editing a couple of them lately over the last couple of days, so I thought we could just hang out, chat, and do a little editing and see how that goes. And I hope it's a little bit interesting for some of the people that are here today. Let's see, we've got Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider, here. We've got Wigwag Workshop joining us. Steve Childers is in the house. Jay's N Scale is here as well. John from Schuylkill River Valley. Roy Eltham, good morning. I know it's early out there for you. Lauren Hurwitz is here as well. David Atkins, Roy Hardwick, Container Man 68. Colin Wykes is here, and Bernard C is here as well. I just saw somebody pop in, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was Shay's N Scale. Oh, Dwight Curley, I think, was the person that I missed who just popped in. Welcome, everybody. Hope everyone is having a good morning. I do have a little bit of a package to open, and I'm kind of waiting for the little model railroad live streams. John, we should get together and see about updating this. I know a lot of it's out of date these days. A lot of things have changed, and it's probably due for an update. But yeah, we've got the regular shows, we got the live streams, got a little bit of everything going on. I see people are saying hello in the chat. We do have the Stream Elements bot posting the link to join if people want to join. Yeah, John's saying you're right, lots of changes to make. I don't know if it's the summer. I don't know if it's because things are opening up, but things are definitely changing every day, it seems. Not really sure who's coming on and who's not, but hello, Mr. Jimbo. Welcome. Okay, so we got to the end of that. Let's say hello to a couple people, and then I've got some stuff to show. We've got Ethan Armitage, who's been trying to get on the stream, but is usually working on Fridays. And we've got Mr. Steve Childers. How are you two gentlemen doing?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Huh? I'm doing
The-
well.
apparently, Tim says I look like a zombie today. You know that happens sometimes. But let me make myself a little bigger and turn on this overhead camera. I was looking around on eBay as I do sometimes, and I noticed that there were some. Well, what I first found was actually a wagon. I like collecting these little like circus wagons, and I found a circus wagon for like $4.95, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then I looked a little further, and this eBay channel called John's Trains 1105 was shutting down his store, and everything he was listing was for $4.95. So I was like, well, let's see, what was the total? I don't see the total here, but it was,
I feel a buying binge coming on.
I bought three things, so not too bad. I got out with only three things, plus it was like $12 in shipping or something like that. But here's the little. We'll show this first. This is what caught me onto the channel was these little wagons, and they go on, kind of like my billboard here on the flat car. These sit on the flat car. So I picked this guy up for $4.95, which I thought was pretty cool. It's Gallagher's moving company and some other little karting moving company thing. And then I don't know why. Maybe I know why. But in New York City, there's something called there was something called the Toy Center. And they used to do a toy fair every year. And K-Line actually had an office there. If you find an old K-Line catalog and look in the catalog at their locations, one of the addresses, I think it's like 200 Fifth Avenue. And 200 Fifth Avenue was the Toy Center. And basically what it used to be was a place where all the toy companies had showrooms so that buyers can go to one place and basically see all the different manufacturers' toys.
Kind of
And they used to
merchandise
have,
mart.
yeah, exactly. And they used to have these little toy fairs, and for some reason, Lionel put out like a series of toy fair cars. Oops, I just realized you can't see that. Put out this series of toy fair cars, and like this one says Lionel New York Toy Fair, and it's got a little toy fair little thing on it. So I actually ended up. I don't think I have this one. I can't. I don't. I'm not really 100% sure, but I don't think I have this one.
You do now.
But I've got this one now. So I've kind of added it to my toy fair collection. And then this other one I thought was kind of cool too. I like the like in Micro Trains. I've got a bunch of the Micro Trains anniversary cars. Basically, like every 5 years or so, they would do like 45th anniversary or whatever in Micro Trains. And Lionel has kind of their run of those kind of things as well. So this is the 1995 Lionel dealer preview car, and I guess in 1995 maybe one of the newish Lionel controllers came out. So I got that one too. So $5 for this, $5 for this, $5 for the little for the wagons, and I thought I got off eBay easy.
Cool.
I got out without too much too much pain and suffering. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so that was fun. So let's get into this editing stuff. And hopefully people will find it as interesting as I do, but yeah, we'll see. So I edit in DaVinci Resolve, and what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna show you the last video that I put out, just so that you can kind of see where it's gonna go, and then we'll go back and we'll open up a new a new file, and we'll start over from the beginning. And funny, I just got an email that said, "Do you want us to edit your videos for you?" So no, I'm doing okay, but thanks. So this is basically the setup. Timeline's on the bottom. I've got my media pool over here on the left, and over on the right is the inspector. Sometimes I will open and close these different windows depending on what I want to see. I usually just go with one preview window, but there are ways to, if you like to do two windows, and I don't really understand that method of editing, so I just do it this way. But I usually live in the edit tab, or not the, yeah, is this the edit tab? Yeah, the edit tab. You can also do a bunch of stuff in what they call the cut tab. But again, I'm not a very good editor, I would say. I figured out what I need to do to make it work for me. But what we're gonna do is basically go through. So I've got let's turn this off, and basically I put my little pre-roll in. After the pre-roll, I've got I usually do the thumbnail, drop the thumbnail in. In this case, I've just got a little title slide that we'll make up that basically explains that this is, only a part of a larger interview. And the interview was a part of this NMRA thing. And then we just kind of get into it. And you can see there's a lot of, maybe you can see, there's a lot of like cuts and stuff. Like here's a cut. You can kind of see I've got a crossfade across the cut. You can see the audio's got a lot of different cuts in it, and I'll explain why I do that as well. This is my subscribe button, which is basically a little thing. Oh yeah, people are saying they're just getting the notification that I'm live. Yeah, I don't, yeah, Bernard. So I do a lot of editing. A lot of the cuts you'll see that I do are to take out dead spots in what I'm editing. And I do that because, like right now, while I'm like talking and thinking and it's live, like people are more engaged because it's live and I can interact with the chat and stuff like that. But when it's a recorded video, those dead spaces a lot of times are when people will like check out. So a lot of what I do is like here's a series of a couple edits, and basically I'm just fading from from the different people talking, but because it's the slide, I can edit in and out of the audio to tighten up this sequence. So like here, Byron was explaining these layout, different layout options, and instead of just leaving the whole long edit, I chopped it up really quick. And this whole video ended up being, let's see, 16 minutes and 15 seconds. I'll try and maybe cut this next one down to 10 minutes. We'll see how that goes, whether that works or not. But yeah, I thought the first thing we would do is, so you can see this, this image that I have here. I've added to the bottom of it live stream edit interview preview. So what I do is I use GIMP, and I'll usually start with the thumbnail that I used for Modeling Monday. So like you can see, I still have the Modeling Monday logo here, but I want to change it to add kind of that, stream edit, interview preview down along the bottom, so that it looks similar to the main interview, but it's still different. So what I'm going to do is do a new version of this, and today's date is what? Let's see. Today is the 25th. So we're going to call this the 25th. And we're going to name this edit, because it's the interview edit. And we're going to hit save. So now I've got a new file. And do I have... Yeah, here we go. So I've already got, from a previous one, a little bit of a, what am I trying to say? I've been making these thumbnails for so long that a lot of them are just templates that I just, reuse stuff. So in this case, I already have, you can see I'm kind of clicking, there's a little eye here. I'm making this layer active and turning that layer off. And that's how I'm, bringing in that new text field. So let me look back just to kind of make them similar. Where is it? Here we go. So live stream edit interview preview. So let's change it to that. Losing where my, there we go. Go here. So we're going to change this to say live stream edit interview preview. Oops. So the other thing that I'm going to do is, we'll resize that in a second, but the logo that I have over here still is my Modeling Monday logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the Modeling Monday logo, and I'm going to find just one of my regular logos to drop in here instead of that logo. And then we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Oops. So that it fits better. And then one of the things that I did here is, if you notice, this Pulse of DCC with Guest Mark Jouet is a little darker than the rest of everything. So that's this, I've got this, basically just this layer, and it just kind of helps pop the text out. My machine's too old for DaVinci Resolve, currently using OpenShot, which has a surprising amount of functionality. Yeah, a lot of people like OpenShot as well, and it's also it is also free as well, which is good. David Atkins, I use Movie Maker, but my new computer doesn't have it, and Microsoft doesn't support it anymore. That's true. So what I like about DaVinci Resolve is it is a full-fledged editor that you could create, if you wanted to, you could create, professional movies or whatever. Like they edit Hollywood movies on DaVinci Resolve. But you could also use the free version, and what I do is I just don't, I don't use a lot of the functions, and I just, I use what I need, and I don't use what I don't need, and that's the way it goes. Oh, I see. I was like, what are we talking about with Dan saying he hopes his boss isn't watching? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this, green behind this, which helps make it pop out. So I'm going to add that same green to down here as well. So what I do is I just make a little box, and I make sure the box is where I want the box. And I highlight my little green background little thing, and I go to the paint bucket and I fill it in, and now I've got a little background there. So now the text on the bottom pops out as well. And then I just save this and I export it. I export it both as a PNG and as a JPEG. The PNG is higher quality, so I'll use that in the video edit. But YouTube cannot use file sizes that are that big. So I also export it as a JPEG. JPG. Also export it as a JPEG. So GIMP, which is what I'm using, is a Photoshop alternative that is also free. So basically everything that I use is free. DaVinci Resolve is free, or I use the free version. GIMP is free, but they're pretty full featured. Anybody have any questions about the thumbnail I just created?
Is that Louisville, Nashville?
Louisville and Nashville is the railroad that Mark Jewett, who was the guest for this interview, that's the railroad that he models. So these Louisville and Nashville, that SW, it's probably an SW 1500, and the this B unit are from his railroad.
Like, that one looks like the EJ&E diesel right there.
Yeah, I don't know the history. I don't really know much of the history of Louisville and Nashville. Mark did go through it a little bit, so maybe we'll play it a little bit during this stream. But yeah. So Daniel Banks says, I have not used DaVinci, but I use GIMP a lot. Yeah, GIMP's got some issues. GIMP is open source, so it's not, it's not great, but it's pretty good. Thank you, Halo Burning, saying smash that like button.
Like it first.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully if you're here, people like it.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently it's not even close to an SW1500. So what is it, Tim? Oh, it's an SW7 or an SW9. Yeah, hey, at least I knew it was a switcher, right? I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Hey, it's an SW.
I guess I should have just stopped it. It's an SW. I couldn't even tell you the difference between an SW7 or a 9 or a 1500. So
I don't think I could either.
yeah, but let's see. GIMP isn't perfect, but then neither is Photoshop. That's very true. Let's see. Anybody else?
Hey, Ian.
I don't like it until I quit. Who was Dwight Curley was saying? Can you explain again? Which part, Dwight? Or you want me to just explain the whole thing again? If you want the whole explanation again from the beginning, you could just rewind the video, because that's what's kind of great about being on YouTube, is you could just rewind the video.
Yeah, it's like a rewind of the chess player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've watched Robert Flying Crow's JMRI operations videos.
And that's what I love about YouTube is, like, if you miss something or you don't see what's going on, it's like you can pause it and go back, and
Right.
yeah, I think it's good. Let's see. Daniel says I use Audiology for soundtrack editing. I don't know that one. I do all my soundtrack editing stuff just within DaVinci Resolve. It's got Fairlight, which is a pretty good audio editing software in itself. I have used something called Audacity. Audacity is a free version that free audio editing software that I've used, that I know a lot of people use for like podcasts and stuff like that. I don't know Audiology though. I may have to take a look at that one. But let's why don't we go on to DaVinci Resolve, and I can kind of show you my my process. Oh.
Cool. Real grand.
Yeah, this is from Byron's interview, and he sent me these pictures.
Wow, he's nice.
Apparently, Daniel meant Audacity. Um, I'm not that smart, Heath, but I still lift heavy things. Lift heavy things. Does that count?
That goes for me too. I can do that too.
Someone's got to do the heavy lifting, right?
Yeah, I have muscles. I can lift. I used to lift heavy chairs at my high school. Our high school.
Yeah. There's a lot of, there's a lot of need for manual labor,
Right.
and
Exactly.
in a lot of cases, you can make a ton of money. Um, so yeah,
Oh,
it's
it
really
starts
good.
raining outside.
So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna get rid of this edit, which was the last edit, and we'll make a new one. So what I do is in the project manager, I have what I call my default 1080p 60 FPS project, and I've created this project that's got a lot of my default stuff. So I will generally start with this project, which is essentially a blank project, but I got certain assets in it. I've got I've got a basic timeline in it. I've got there's no what I'm calling assets here, which are the specific assets for this video that I'm editing. But then I've got these title sequence items. So like I've got my humanity music here. I've got the subscribe button here. I've got like my YouTube membership video. Uh, my Human City logo animation. So when I open this file up, I've got a lot of this stuff in here. The other thing that I have in here is this is Fairlight. This is the audio editing piece. I have under audio output 1, I've already got some compression settings and stuff like that set. So I just make audio 1 my my vocal track, and then I've already got a lot of my dynamic settings and I got my equalizer set already for the video I'm creating. So it just gives me a place to start that's kind of a blank slate, but it's not completely a blank slate. So what kind of things are we doing with Audacity? Are you using it just to make some background sounds? Are you doing more with it? Uh, I'm not using Audacity, but what I use Fairlight for primarily is for uh, balancing the audio levels, which I'll show people how to do, and different sort of things like that. I don't do a lot of soundscaping or like soundtrack stuff. I did on my video where the train went over the let me do this. Save project as. So we're going to do 2021-06-25. The pulse of DCC edit. Just so I can get back to this. I can show in when I did the video of the Z scale taking flight. When I did the slow motion moment here, you can see I've got some extra audio tracks down here, and those extra audio tracks are like different sound stuff, and I actually just edited it right here in the edit tab. I didn't go into Fairlight and edit it, but I could have. That's what I like about the DaVinci Resolve, but there's multiple ways to do it. But I'm going to play this so you can hear it real quick. But basically, as the locomotive was falling, I added these. This first clip is machine sounds halting. This is a metal box falling, and then this is a junk crash. And basically, I just use those three to kind of give the sound effects of the locomotive falling.
At the end, you could have put Ray's wah 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 wah.
Right. Uh-oh. I don't.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I put
Oh no, they're trying to rail. Oh yeah,
so
it's like
I got Steve saying "Oh no" in the beginning, and I've got Dave saying "Oh no" at the end.
it looks like I Love Toy Trains. It kind of reminds me of Warren Campbell.
Yeah, so that was my that's sort of the most of the sound editing stuff. Oh, and yeah, GIMP's improved. They just came out with version, I think it's 10.22. I think it's the latest version, and it fixed a lot of the stuff on Mac that wasn't working. The Mac version had gotten a bit behind, but now they're pretty much caught up. Um, but it's decent, you know. It's not perfect. It's an open source software, so it's got some issues, but it works pretty well. And yeah, so I'm using DaVinci Resolve. This is the free version. This is not the studio version, which basically means it just doesn't really use the GPU. Um, and I'm going to go basically here into assets now, and we'll go here into import media, and I'm going to go to my YouTube thumbnail folder, which is where I already am at, and I'm going to open up the PNG file that we just created. And basically now you can see this is the PNG we created in GIMP earlier, and now I've got it available to drop into my timeline, and we'll add a little 30-second cross dissolve here, and now I've got basically my little intro. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is, so if you notice, let's make this a little bigger. If you notice, you can see how high the spikes are on this audio, the beginning of it, but how low they are down here at the end. So what I've been doing is I go through and I basically change the height of the start so it's not as loud, which I feel like makes it a little bit easier to listen to.
Right.
So there's my little logo animation, and then it goes into the little title slide that I made. And then the other thing that I will add to this is if I go into my title sequence, I'll add this music in as well. And we're going to make the music quieter to balance it with the intro, so that now when you play it, it goes right from the logo animation into the title slide with my intro music.
Cool.
Funny, just reinstalled DaVinci Resolve this morning. There you go. I just used the free version of UCut, simple and on my phone. There's some really, really good editing software now on your phone. Yeah. So I tried using iMovie. I just couldn't figure it out. Like just doing this simple little thing like this on iMovie, I couldn't figure out how to do it. And Final Cut Pro is $300.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so instead of going to Final Cut Pro, I went for something free, basically. Tim says I don't edit photos ever. Yeah, in order to get your videos seen on YouTube, I feel like it's very important to edit your thumbnails to give some sort of consistency and whatnot to your thumbnails and stuff. So, like if you go to I think it's here. Let's try this. So if you go to my, YouTube page and you look at the thumbnails, they have a certain a certain consistency to them. They're not all exactly the same, but they have a certain look to them. And I kind of think that's sort of important to have people, recognize that it's, my channel, my videos that I'm putting out. Because, like, if I go to my subscription feed, I've got all these videos, and I feel like the ones like here's TSG Multimedia, right? Like this one kind of popped out at me because it's a created, thumbnail, and like these, Owen makes a thumbnail, and here, Impartial Geek makes a thumbnail. And I just feel like these pop out to me a little bit more than ones that, don't have thumbnails. So, here's Eric from IMRRO.com. They pop out, and like you kind of know whose channel you're watching just by the thumbnail. So that's kind of, why I do it.
Do you watch Virtual Air Fan?
I don't watch it, but I am subscribed to them.
Cool.
Yeah. Audio, I use GarageBand and Logic Pro. Two very good programs. Yeah, OpenShot is definitely very popular as well, and also free, I believe.
Hey, Steve, I like your hat.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Drew got Final Cut Pro X in college, but yeah, I mean that's it. If you're not upgrading all the time, it's a good investment. I think a lot of these, paid programs. Canva is a great option for YouTube thumbnails, and it is free. It's web-based, so you can access it from anywhere. They've got templates as well, so sort of like how, in GIMP, I've got, all these. I got these layers that, make up the different elements, and I just add in, the different elements as I build out a. And I'm missing. I don't remember where there we go. You just add the elements in, and then depending on, what I'm doing, and Canva does similar things as well. You can set up a template, and then as you change, the different things you get, or as you do new thumbnails, you can use the same template so you get a similar look. Yeah, they're wigwag. Yep. Yeah, and what I like about DaVinci Resolve is that Final Cut is basically the edit tab. Logic is basically the Fairlight tab. Motion is the Fusion tab. Compressor is built into the Fairlight tab. So I like that it's all one software, and that you don't have to leave one program and jump into the next. So I kind of like that. The quality is one of the first clue that I'm about to check out a channel that is concerned about being a quality production. Without that work, I anticipate far less quality from the site. And you saw, I did it live. You saw how quick it took me to do a thumbnail.
Right.
It was pretty quick just because I was using a template that I had previously. So it's not a lot of time, but it does make a difference. Learning layers in GIMP or Photoshop is learning the ability to produce your own backdrop scenes as well as interiors and buildings. Very true. If people are interested, if people like this type of thing, I don't even know how many people are here. 25 people here.
Wow.
If people like this type of thing, I'm happy to do more videos about this. And we can go into it. Vice versa, my thumbnails look very professional, but my videos and content are just for amusement. That's true as well, but hey, as long as they click on the videos, it's all good. I suggest folks over at Ripple Training. It's what I use to learn the Apple apps.
Cool.
Yeah. And I love, honestly, when I can't figure something out, I use this this online thing called YouTube. I just type in like exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, how do I add a layer in GIMP? And, a video pops up and I just literally follow the video just because, I don't know how to do anything else.
You
It's
know,
funny you say that because that's how I got involved in doing my own YouTube channel. Was I had some
Mm,
question when I first started the retirement railroad, and I forgot what it was. So I looked up mile railroading on YouTube. I swear to God, I didn't do anything for 3 weeks afterwards besides watch YouTube videos.
yep. And that's kind of why I started it as well, you know. Um, so get out of this. Okay, so what I realized was I never downloaded. Did I download it? L74. Oh, I did download it. Sorry,
that's okay.
I was wrong. Here it is. I'm trying to add. So this right here is the interview that I did with Mark Jewett.
Cool.
So I just basically right click up here, import the media. I added the media, and now you can see it's in my timeline here. Uh, it's whatever. It's some hours of footage. So I need to chop that down. The other thing that I want to do though is, if you remember in my other project here, and again, this is where like building templates and using the same thing over and over again comes in handy. Is I can go to one of my previous files. I can click on this is the title slide here. So I can click on that. I can hit Control C to copy it. I can go back here into my into this other one and just paste it here. And now, instead of having to recreate it from scratch, I was now just able to go back and just grab it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just grab I'm going to grab the title and just edit in the title really quickly, and I'm grabbing that off of YouTube, out of my studio. So I just come here and so again, it's the way I make things simple for myself. The way I make things simple for myself is I use things. I grab
You don't,
pieces from other stuff and reuse it.
yeah, you don't reinvent the wheel.
Never reinvent the wheel.
It's a whole
Right.
lot,
Reinventing the wheel.
yeah, it's a whole lot easier to make a minor edit from something pre-existing than to redo the whole thing.
Yeah. So, that's a great example of it right there. It's like, just grab the title slide from the previous one and just drop it in. Like, don't mess around with all the other stuff.
Right.
Anthony Dodge says, I don't worry about a channel's thumbnail or quality. I see what it's about and watch the video. If it's interesting, regardless of quality, I like it and watch more on the channel.
Good for him.
I would argue that yes, that's true, but um, the thumbnail will tell you what the video is about. The thumbnail and the title will tell you what the video is about. So if you create a thumbnail that somebody can see and know what the video is about, they're more likely to click on it. So I think you are kind of, going to do it. There's only so much time available. There's a lot of competing content. I take time for the best stuff and pass on the rest. Quality of production is a sign of somebody that really cares about the content. And I do pretty much agree with that. Yes, I am wrong every once in a while. Camtasia is a program that I used to use way back in the day, I believe for screen recording, if I'm not mistaken. But Camtasia is another oldie but goodie. Heath makes this look easy. I dread going into editing. Uh, I've been I've been editing these videos in, you know, in various progress or whatever for like over a year now. So it becomes easy when you do it a lot. I wouldn't say that it's easy. Kind of funny. I was watching James and John's stream replay. He said and gave you credit for editing some content for the NMRA convention.
What's the
coming up.
AMA convention?
Very good question, Ethan. Nice segue. Good job.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been helping out with the NMRA 2021 National Convention. It starts on July 6th. It's 5 days, about 80 hours of content. In addition to the content, they are going to have a YouTuber like separate room so that we can kind of go in and hang out and, you know, have our own little place to go. I'll be hosting the room on at lunchtime on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so people can come hang out with me if you're there. But yeah, so this video, Mark Jouet, I met through the recording of videos for the NMRA, and then he agreed to come because he's not on YouTube. So I'm trying to bring some content to YouTube that's not already on YouTube by reaching out to some of the people in the NMRA that do clinics and, you know, bringing him over here.
Cool.
So yeah. High production is a sign of having the time and ability to make that much production. High production doesn't mean they care more, it just means they have the ability to do it.
Right.
Depends on what you're after, I guess. Most videos are based on a search, so I read the description and click the video. Yes, most videos are based on search. The way you get the search results is that Google actually analyzes your thumbnail, and the search is based on the results of the thumbnail. And if people don't believe me, I don't know if I showed this before, but this is
I believe in you.
this is very interesting. So let's go here, screen, Chrome tab. If you want to see how scary Google AI is, so I'm going to grab the thumbnail that I just made, and we're going to drop it in here. And this is Google Cloud. It's called Cloud Vision. Now, this is Google analyzing the thumbnail. And then, I made that too big. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. Analyzing the thumbnail. And from this thumbnail, it came up with all of these search terms. Train, vehicle, rolling stock, window, electricity, mode of transport, track, railway, you know, all this just from the thumbnail. It identified somehow the University of Alabama at Birmingham logo instead of my logo, but who knows why. It identifies the various text. It identifies various Stop freaking out.
Uh-oh.
It identifies various properties, some of them being colors and stuff like that. And then it also determines sort of the, you know, is it adult content? Is it medical content? Is it violence? Is it racy? A lot of my thumbnails, when they've got model trains in them, they come up as a spoof. Because somehow Google recognizes that they're model trains and not real trains, and they identify it as a spoof. So all of this search came just from the thumbnail, not from the description, not from the title, not from any of that stuff. So that's why, in my opinion, oh, I just realized I wasn't sharing it while I was showing it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Steve!
Now it
Sorry.
makes sense.
Now it'll make a lot more sense. Take two. So, here's the thumbnail. I added it, and here's all the labels it comes up with from that one thumbnail. Identifies the logos, identifies all the text, the properties. Here's the safe search thing I was telling you about. But yeah, I mean, just from the thumbnail, if you go onto Google and search train vehicle rolling stock window electricity mode of transport, this video may come up because that's so it's a little scary, sort of.
Looks fine to me.
But it's if you're not doing it, you're missing out. Yeah, now, yeah. See, I wasn't looking at the chat. I was looking at, yeah. Sorry, but I know you can see it now. Oops. Yeah. So YouTube's Google AI analyzes your.
We just thought you were making it up.
Yeah, I know. It analyzes your. It analyzes your images and your videos more than it analyzes the text. So, yeah. Sorry I wasn't showing you that, but I went back and... Yep, it shows all the different colors, yep. And this is it, right? I have zero desire to spend the time needed for video editing. I don't really like sound editing. Right? And that's the thing, right? I mean... I think anybody that's putting content out there and making it available for other people is a great thing. But there's so much content out there that to get your content seen, it's like Steve, everyone is Steve's, tips of the week, matinee model railroading. It's like, what it is because you recognize the thumbnail.
Yeah, but you look at that thumbnail, now that I know the Google stuff, it probably doesn't do worth the damn on Google.
Well, and that's kind of what, ideally you want 1 or 2 words in your thumbnail. Ideally you want to repeat those words in your title and then repeat those words again in your description. Yeah. Robert says, reminds me of a picture is 1,000 words, and it's pretty crazy.
That's a lot of words.
The clickbait approach, yeah, I get what you're saying about that as well, and I try and hold on one second.
Sure. Hey Steve, I like your roundhouse.
Well, thanks. That took me a while to build because it's truncated. All right?
Yeah, Burlington, Quincy.
Yes, Chicago, Burlington, and
Quincy. Yeah.
Yep, I grew up on the main line outside Chicago.
Cool. Oh.
Okay, we can't hear you, Heath.
Yeah, hey, if we can't hear you.
Okay.
Now we can.
I'm not showing you the screen. I got myself muted.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to show you guys how to do stuff, and yet I'm just totally failing. Definitely not someone to follow, right, Z?
You're not failing. You're fine.
Yeah, I think it was her.
We expect it.
It is so funny how, I mean, if you haven't ever done a live stream, trying to keep track of the chat, all the tech, like I'm trying to show somebody how to video edit, which is hard enough to do when you're only focusing on video editing. It's like, it's Drew Dude says Heath failing equals excellent stream. Yeah. I am not going to drop any locomotives on the floor today. I'm telling you right now. That's not a part of the process. Z, I like your oven you've got back there.
Thank you.
Somebody's echoing.
Oh. Is it Z that's echoing a little bit? Edward's joining us as well.
Hi,
Hello.
We can only see your workbench, Edward. We don't see you. I don't know if that's on purpose. Oh, there we go. There's a thumb. There's a thumb. All right, so let's get back to this edit because I need to get this edit done. I don't know about anybody else. So let me know. Can you hear the music from the? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good. I'll turn it down a little bit so it's not too annoying, but at least this
No,
way
I
you
don't
guys can
mind.
hear what I'm doing. So the first thing that I need to do, and let's move this over a little bit. If you notice now, when I click on it, both of them highlight. The way I'm going to edit this, I need to unlink the clips, so I'll click on that, and now when I click on one or the other, they highlight separately. And I do that because, as you saw in the other one, I have a lot more edits on the audio than I do on the video, and that's the only real way to do it. So we're going to go and using I was about to point to my screen as if pointing to my screen people could see what I was seeing. Let's hide this, make that a little bigger. I'm going to use the timer now to at least find the beginning of the stream. And I am just going to use, this is the split tool here. And if you notice, it says B for blade edit mode. If you just use Control B, it'll put the cut in. So let's see. So now you can see there's now a cut. So basically it's just Control B and it just adds a cut so that you now have separate clips. And what I am going to do is I'm going to delete this and I'm going to do what's called a ripple delete. So you can do two different types of delete. You can hit the delete button, and if you notice, nothing moved, right? This clip is still in the same relationship as this other clip, right? So it's just, it's just deleting the content. It's not moving anything. Then there's something called a ripple delete. And what a ripple delete means is that this empty space that you're creating, it's going to fill in with everything after that. And the way you do a ripple delete is instead of just hitting delete, either hit shift delete, or depending on the keyboard you have, there's actually a separate delete button that works. And if you notice, then all of the content shifted back over to the right. And by shifting back over to the right, I'm now, refilling that empty space. Bernard wants to know, Z, how's the Easy Bake going today? I think it's so funny. We all thought that you were working in your kitchen on top of your oven. And once we got that image in our heads, I don't know if you know you're muted, Z, if you were trying to talk to us, but once we got that image of it, that being an oven in our head, then
Yeah.
See, you're I think you have YouTube on because we're hearing it
Get rid
twice.
of that echo.
Yeah, echo.
I can't hear you that echo.
All right, well, Z will figure that out in a second. Let's get back to editing. So what?
I'm malfunctioning, so I can't hear you. I'll put my earphones in. Then I can't move around. Last time it worked fine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It sounds like you have YouTube open in the background.
I did this last time.
Gosh, I can't tell which one is the live me up there.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So this stream Z and Steve were on. So what I'm looking for is I'm trying to remove. I don't watch the whole darn video because to sit through 2 hours of video just to edit it, you don't want. I don't want to do it. So, I try and use different ways to scrub through the content to get to the point where I can edit it. And what I'm looking for is the part where I had Mark introduce himself, because that's where I want to start the video. I just want to start this edit with Mark introducing himself. Yeah, so all guests echo, Heath no echo. That's because I've got my ears in.
I got mine too.
Yeah. We'll just blame it on Z just because that's the easy person to blame it on.
Well, wait a second. I thought the whole thing was blame Heath.
It is, but I can't believe it's already 12:30 and I haven't gotten anywhere on this edit. Okay, so let's find. So once I find the beginning too, if you notice, I use this audio waveform to really help me edit. Like, I can see just from here that there's, something changed here, right? I went from talking here, you can see in the waveform, to something different here, back to talking. And what I'll do is I can zoom into that waveform and get a better sense of what's going on so that I can find, the exact moment, that somebody starts talking. I just use the waveform. So I just go through and I just keep cutting sections out until I find the beginning of his conversation. The dangers of making your edit session a live stream with a strong peanut gallery. I know I'm trying to read the and this again is why live streams can be hard. I'm trying to read the chat and show you guys something interesting at the same time, which is no easy feat. Drew Dudes is saying at Daniel Banks, when the peanut gallery is stronger than the force. Yeah, I do. Sometimes it would be easier just to ignore you guys, but so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play over here, and I'm going to try and find where Mark starts introducing himself so that I can use that as the start of the video, basically, and eliminate this dark spot here, right? So that it'll go right from this title slide right to Mark introducing himself. So let's let's get rid of this audio so that's not bugging us, because we're going to trim that in a bit anyway. Joining us from the middle of the US of A. And Mark, what the title of this was The Pulse of DCC. So I thought that might be a good place to start, but I know you wear a lot of hats, so why don't we start with the DCC hat, and then we'll see where things go from there. But welcome to the show.
Okay, thanks, Heath. Thanks for inviting me. I started writing the Pulse of...
All right, so we're going to go right here. So what I just did, spacebar plays.
I started writing...
Let me put a marker here so I don't lose where it was. But spacebar plays.
Okay,
thanks, and
Heath. Thanks.
It plays just at regular speed, but you can use the L and the J. So it's the J, K, and L buttons. And if you hit the L button multiple times, you can see it starts going faster. The K will stop it. The J will go backwards. And you can use these to kind of, scrub forward and backwards. So we're going to go back here. And we're going to... Oh, why is it doing this?
Because it's live.
Yeah, I know. DaVinci's being interesting again. Let's get rid of this marker so it's not confusing anything. And there we go. Now it cut in the right spot, so we're going to go back to here. So now we're going to drag this over so it's right at the end of the title. We're going to add a little transition. And the way I'm adding the transitions is there's just a little, this little bracket that comes up. And when you right click, it just says, add 14 frame, 30 frame, 60 frame cross dissolve, which is the standard transition. So I just add that in there real quick. The other thing I'm going to do now too is I'm going to zoom in so people can see this. So this is where Mark first says hello, right? So it goes, let's see.
Right.
Oh, and I got to turn it up because it's so quiet.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC.
All right, so
Um,
so you heard here he says at the beginning of that as he first starts talking. So I'm actually going to take that out. Just because why have your guests start by saying We're going to try and make them sound as good as possible from the beginning, and then we'll let them Kenan, thanks for the hotel suggestions. Your go-to hotel said no openings. Yeah, it's I was trying to help Ken find a hotel for the New York City Marathon. But
Cool.
Ken, let me know if you need some more suggestions, and we'll try and find it. Wigwag is heading out for a work gathering. It's my first time meeting my team in person. Wow, that's kind of cool. 1 out of 2. I wanted to edit the live stream to cut an embarrassing moment, but YouTube seems to have removed the function in March. Only option would be to trim on computer, upload his new video, and do it in live stream, right? No. So let's just help Ken out real quick. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go to the YouTube studio. Here it is, studio, share, show on screen. Okay, so here's my YouTube studio. Basically, what you click on is basically just get into the video, and then you see right here it says editor on the left side, and it's this editor button that you'll click, and it's from here, this video editor page, that you can chop out sections of your video. So it's under Creator Studio. Go into this video that you want to edit, and that's where like data and analytics and stuff are, and then just click on the editor part of that tab, and that'll that should get you in there. I hope that was mildly helpful. All right, let's go back to share this audio. So I assume you are getting rid of his pauses and speeches on. Yes and no. Because it was a live interview and I'm just editing a live interview as a preview, I will get rid of some of the major ones. Like he said right before he started introducing himself. So that's a pretty big one. So I will take that one out, but I won't take all of them out. But it depends to what I'm doing. I take out most of mine when I'm doing another video, but in this case, I don't take them all out. But let's hear what we got now.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC column back in 2014.
So that's a pretty good start. But now I've got this music coming out of the title screen.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC.
So I need to basically find a way to transition out of that music into his talking. And what I do is I basically, so I know this is a 30-second transition here, right? So I'll basically go about 30 seconds past that. I'll cut just the music track, select the back side of the music track, get rid of it, and then I'll add just a 30-second, fade or so to the music. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drag it out just a little bit further so it actually starts fading right as he comes up. So now I got the music.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC.
So the music fades out as he, transitions in. And basically I just keep doing that over and over and over again until I get about 10 minutes of decent footage. And then I go from there. But so one of the other things that I'll show you really quickly is, if you notice here in the beginning, if you look at the waveform here, right, you can see it's a little higher here. It drops off here. It comes back higher here. So you'll hear as I play through it that the volume is going up and down.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC column back in 2014. My wife and I were actually on vacation.
So what I will do is I will go through and I'll just put a couple edits in. And I'm putting the edits in where there's kind of natural pauses in the conversation. Taking, decent sized things. I don't generally do this like by word, but I'm just taking general chunks. I'll then highlight it all. And when I right click in this menu, there's something called normalize audio. And I will use the normalize audio feature, sample peak. The target level is minus 2.5 dBFS. And I'm doing it independent, meaning each clip is being analyzed independently based on its peak, and it's going to set its peak at minus 2.5 dB. So if you watch closely down here, you'll see this one is going to increase. Roy Eltham's heading off to work. Thanks for coming in, Roy. We will see you later. So now what I just did is, when I play this back, you'll hear, instead of the audio going up and down, the audio will be much more consistent.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC column back in 2014. My wife and I were actually on vacation.
So, I mean, yes, this took a little bit of time. It took about an hour because I was doing it live, but I kind of just using these simple techniques, and I'm literally now just going to do the same thing over and over again with his interview to get to the point. But it's, I edited the audio in the intro here. I added a transition here going from the intro into the title slide, then another transition into just the text title slide, added in some music, and then we get right into the interview.
I started writing the Pulse of DCC column back in 2014. My wife and I were actually on vacation in Florida with some friends, and I was catching up on my reading, and it was an ad in the NMRA magazine. Stephen Priest was the editor at that time.
And if people are interested in hanging out for a little bit, I'm just gonna keep doing a little bit of editing, because this is what's on my so I'm doing the normalized editing thing more often than I usually do. I usually will edit the entire thing and then just go back and do this once, but I'm kind of doing this now just so that you can really see and hear how this simple step of normalizing your audio just makes it so much easier to understand, because I'm balancing the audio. And the problem is, because I'm using something like StreamYard or Melon or all these kind of things, is because I don't have an audio mixer. And I can't balance the audio without an audio mixer. And the audio mixer that these programs use just aren't really good enough. So I'm taking the audio out of my live stream, and I kind of have to fix it, is kind of what I'm doing. And it's, it's simple, right? I mean, I just click on that, and now, now it's all.
I started writing the Pulse of
It's all
DCC
even now.
column back in 2014. My wife and I were actually on vacation in Florida with some friends.
So I just want to so here's the original.
My wife and I were actually on vacation in Florida with.
So you hear how much it drops there, right?
My wife and I were actually on vacation in Florida with some friends, and I was catching up.
And all I'm going to do is just hit normalize audio, and then.
My wife and I were actually on vacation in Florida with some friends, and I was catching up on my reading, and it was an ad in the NMRA magazine. Stephen Priest was the editor at that time.
And now it's just more balanced. And we can go through, and you can actually click, and you can see up here. So the normalized audio brought the volume of this one up to 2.2, brought the volume of this up to 9.8. It's boosting the volume over what's called unity. So unity is 0. So it's boosting this clip plus 9.8 decibels. And then this one, it's boosting 2.6. This one, it's boosting 10.10. Right? So it's taking all these different, 5.3, 7.3, 14, 2.2. It's taking all of these and it's normalizing them so that it, yeah. Z says that's why I don't get videos made, but he is doing a great job. Yeah, it's kind of, I will hang out. It's interesting. I've been using ProShow Gold for my pictures with music for my train mountain memories. There you go. You don't need to put that level of production in Z. He's a perfectionist and chooses to do this much. Everyone is different. Absolutely. And part of what I'm trying to show as well is that because I've got all, I can go in here, and because I've got all of these other, videos that I've worked on, and because I've got this default template, it just makes it easy for me to go in and just grab pieces and parts and just go through it. It does take time though, right? I mean, this, right now, so, all right, here you go. You can see that this might be interesting. So I've edited 38 seconds of this video right now.
Okay.
But I've got
We're burning it up.
1 hour and 42 minutes of footage to get through. So I am not going to go through all this footage. I am just going to grab the first 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, it takes time. It does. The other thing of it for me is that people are not going to, well, my experience of my analytics are that people are not going to go back through. Some people will go back through and watch your live streams. Absolutely. My experience, though, is that number is fairly low. And I want to provide people a 10-minute, let's say, preview of it that just seems like it's more accessible to watch. So I feel like if I do this 10-minute edit, which is going to take a couple hours, but if I do this 10-minute edit, then I will be able to get more people exposed to the conversation, and then people might be more interested in going and watching the whole live stream. So in a sense, I'm creating an advertisement for my own, my own thing. So I can tell. So usually I've got about 30 or so people watching. There's only 19 people watching right now, so you can kind of gauge the interest of this video based on only having 19 people watching. But that's okay. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit because why not? I got nothing else to do, and people can kind of watch me edit and ask questions and all that good stuff. So the hard part about doing this edit live is because I'm listening to somebody talk, I can't also be reading the chat and I can't also be talking. So,
Right.
so talk amongst yourselves if you want, or just watch. I'll be here for a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah.
That's one of the things that
mail call this morning, and he had a little airbrush thing. So I got on Amazon and ordered one too.
Oh yeah. I've seen those little handy ones. Edward, what were you trying to say?
With new tracks, we have a small volunteer army doing stuff.
Yeah. In my case, I'm a one man army around here. Hey, if I could find somebody that would do rough edits for me, I would love that. The problem is the YouTube channel doesn't make any money, so I can't afford to pay anybody. And, except for me, who's going to go through all this work to edit all these videos.
I mean, that's with new tracks, it's all volunteers.
Yeah. If anybody wants to volunteer to rough edit my videos, send me an email.
That time. And I had met Steve, although he lives in the area, I'd met Steven a couple of times. He has since become a very good friend of mine. And I contacted him and I said, tell me more about this, and I would be interested. I was in the process of making a lot of changes in my professional life. What I was doing is, you and I had talked the other day, I had worked in the corporate world for 25 years. Then I started my own business doing fire and water mitigation and restoration, and was phasing out of that and was looking to shift back and do things a little bit easier, and planning to have a little bit more time for model railroading, including writing the column. So I have continually wrote that column since May of 2014, missing only a couple of times.
So one of the things that's interesting, if you interview somebody that that like does their own clinics or that is used to public speaking, they will talk and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes it's hard to get a word in edgewise. So part of me editing this,
don't forget to mention talking.
yeah. So part of what I'm trying to do too is get through the introduction to where we're actually starting to talk about content, but also give enough of an introduction that people are going to be interested. And it's a fine balance. So I think I'm going to cut it here. And I think I'm going to try and scrub ahead a little bit until we start talking about something else that it might keep people engaged as well. But yeah, like Hai isn't on the same in the same time zone we are. So if he's going to go back and watch the live streams, he'll have to, he'll watch through it later. I'm trying to provide this edit so that he can watch this edit, get enough information to know whether he wants to watch the entire live stream. I don't know what conversation is going on here. Andy Ambrose, how young are you? Andy's not a young man. He's not as young as you are, Ethan. Yeah, there we go. Andy's over 18. I think that's where I'm going to go back to editing and let that conversation continue.
I'm 22.
So you weren't like an electrical engineer or a computer science programmer or anything, but somehow you ended up
modeling concepts. Mike Brusky is.
So part of it too is I try and edit them soon enough after the interview that I kind of remember the interview, so that I can just grab the slider and just push ahead and get to a point that, you know, I think is interesting enough. And a lot of this conversation was very interesting to me, at least. But I don't want to. But this is just a preview. I'm just trying to bring people in. So yeah. I'm trying to tell a story without making it boring and dragging on and on. Exactly. It's restricted to 18. Oh, I guess Container Man posted a video. He's trying to see if Andy is Andy's able to watch it. So Andy is over 18 by just over 50 years.
He's also an ag engineer, but he was in food products.
Oh.
I've only practiced as an engineer.
The pulse of DCC.
Expert on electronics, never claimed to be, but if I don't have the answer, I'll find one that works.
All right, so I know he paused here. I know I'm about to ask a question. I'm not sure what the question is, but what I did is I made a cut back here after he kind of stopped introducing himself. Here was some more introduction stuff, but it's stuff that I don't think is going to draw people in as much. So I put a cut on both ends. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that ripple delete to basically just get rid of that bit. And then I'm going to see if it works to have it go from, you know, him stopping and then me asking the next question and then just kind of, you know, going on from there. So in addition to writing the Pulse of DCC column, you're also the, and I always forget what it's called, the work group, the DCC working group for the NMRA. And
Yes,
how long have you been in that as well?
About 3 years doing that. Actually, I joined them. Well, once again, Stephen Priest got involved and volunteered me for something. And
Right.
yes,
And how long have you?
Well, once again, Stephen Priest got involved and volunteered me for something.
So I'm going to cut again after that little joke.
It was, we ran into one of the
scrub ahead again a little bit.
Testing these days. But I joined him in doing some of the testing, verifying that the CVs were.
You're not. And just to be clear, you're not on the manufacturing.
Well, I have an opinion.
Although
back in the before this.
So now I'm trying to find the next interesting moment.
Was Alan McClellan had the GE t-trak system in his railroad. A fellow by the name of had a series of articles. Other company thing I know, D. Voss was manager of the standards and performance department.
So what's happening right now is he's getting into the origin of DCC, which I think is kind of interesting, but I'm not sure whether I should include it or not. So I'm kind of like trying to go. I'm going back and forth a little bit now about what do I want to include and what do I not want to include.
Test decoders.
Alma mater.
Does most of our.
You know, and Steve Childer said something here, so I got to cut that out, right? I mean, because you know we got to make sure we're always muting Steve as well. No, he's not even there. I'm making fun of him, and he's not even there.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Well, I have an opinion.
Although we could ask you, you have your opinion.
Just a little bit of history.
Here, maybe let's go to here. Just a little bit of history is probably a good spot to start. So I'll take that out. And you know, now we just kind of, you know, we just kind of go from
and volunteered me for something. Just a little bit of history about command control and digital command control.
So, you know, I'm just going to kind of keep going. I hope someday I can get myself into live streams. I don't really have the personality for it since likely I'll be sticking to voiceover vids. Yeah, I do. I am definitely a behind the scenes guy. I worked in theater for years behind the scenes. What I do for a living is working behind the scenes for AV stuff. And here I am, hosting a show. So,
But if you go back and look at your old videos, you are much more relaxed in front of the camera now than what you used to be.
yeah, don't go back and watch my old videos. No, that's very true. But I mean, isn't that just a huge part of it, right? I mean, if you're nervous about doing it, you just gotta kind of start.
But
And
if you look good, then you make it happen.
Yep, just keep trying.
Well, the more comfortable you are with the content of whatever you're presenting, the better your presentation you're going to do.
So is that my problem, Steve? Is that why I keep launching locomotives off the track and I keep breaking things? It's because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just turn the camera on?
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with your presentation skills. That's your technical skills.
No, but you are right. If you when I set up for these interviews, I do a lot of research on who these people are. We do a pre-interview. I try and know as much as I can about the topic that they're talking about, so that I can, and I joke about it a bit, is I talk about leading the witness, but I'll ask questions based on where where they're going or whatever. John is saying that we're still hearing echo from Steve and Z.
I think you're hearing it from everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Except you.
Z's muted right now, so I don't know. Or he could be hearing Steve talking in the video that I'm editing as well.
Back in the motives, that would get. Then there were other companies that built on the back of what Keith had done, such as, and they came up with a group, looked at what he had.
So DCC
did it, the expandability of it, and they found that it was the best approach that anybody had taken thus far. So
DCC wasn't created.
They found that it was the best approach that anybody had taken thus far.
So we're gonna put another cut here, and for some reason it's not. Come on. There we go. And we're gonna chop some of this out. Oh. That was Edward.
I was going to say, I turned everything off.
That was Edward that started that one. No, it's still echoing when they talk. Must be that someone has YouTube and Melon running. Yeah, probably. All the guests have reverb. I'll tell you, the other hard part about doing a live stream is you can't really control the tech of all your guests. And you just got to do the best that you can. But it's hard. It's hard. So DCC come. So I'm basically skipping some of my questions, right? Like I see me talking and I hate hearing myself talk, so I'm just gonna edit some of those out. We have O Gauge and
in the company B. So basically, and I just got a question the other day, Hopper, and they all work together. And likewise for digital command control, I can buy hatches or turnouts. Likewise, if I have a another hopper or boxcar or
is exactly the same as the DCC from NCE and DCC
or minor command stations and throttles, and then I can buy a decoder from any of the manufacturers, and I know it'll work. I can pick
So
up.
the DC. All right, so I'm trying to basically now edit to my question to get us basically another piece of content to keep going.
And I know it'll work. I can pick
So
up.
the
I can pick
so
up.
the so the I start talking right about here. So we're going to delete that out of here. And
Anybody had taken thus far.
so the DCC from, let's just say, Digitrax. So this transition is not great, but because of the content that it is, I'm not going to really stress over fixing it. But there are a couple tricks. I might try one of them. Let's see. Yeah, gremlins always love audio. Audio is probably by far the hardest thing to deal with. Video is definitely a little bit easier because if you have good audio, you can get by with crappy video. Late but here, enjoying the patio before the next round of thunderstorms come through Denver. Yeah, you guys have been having some pretty crazy weather out there. But yeah, okay. So let me see if I can find a way to make this transition a little better.
That anybody had taken thus far.
So the DCC. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab this and drag this back a little bit. And so what I'm going to create is a little bit of space. Not much space, but just enough space that I can add a little bit more separation of me starting to talk versus him stopping to talk. So the DC. So I'm just listening to the audio right now.
Had taken thus far.
So the DC. Still not great.
Best approach that anybody had taken thus far.
So the DC. So I'm gonna try. Let's see if this makes it a little better.
Approach that anybody had taken thus far.
So the DCC from.
Had taken thus far.
So the DC. So I actually repeat the same thing twice, which I did not realize before. So we're gonna go and chop back to that a little bit, and let's see if
anybody had taken thus far.
So the DCC. So now we're gonna drag this forward a little bit. Oh, that is not what I wanted. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the video. I'm going to leave a little bit of an audio gap here. I'm going to fill it in with the video, so the video transition will cover the audio.
Taken thus far.
So the DCC from, so it just leaves a little bit of space in the audio just to kind of, ease the transition.
Thus far.
So the DCC from, so it's much smoother than just doing a harsh jump, is what I was doing. You have not missed Heath blowing anything up, getting fired at anything, or dropping any Z-gauge locos on the floor. That is very true. Adam Cruz, Callie is hoping the scheduled thunderstorm beating will bypass. Yeah, so traumatized from last year's lightning storms. Yeah, I get you. It's really crazy. The weather's just been pretty wild. Even here, it's like it goes from like really cold to really warm and back and forth again, and it's been interesting. So if you notice too, I've chopped up the audio in the beginning here. I haven't been chopping it up here. A lot of times I'll just go back before I do the normalized audio and I'll chop it up. So I'm just going to kind of keep going with this edit. I always sort of look at the time. So I'm at 3:53 right now. So I'm going to keep editing till I get to about 10 minutes or so and then try and find a good spot to end this.
And they found that it was the best approach that anybody had taken thus far.
So the DCC from, let's just say Digitrax,
Mhm.
is exactly the same as the DCC from NCE and exactly the same as the DCC from ESU? Or are there, like, is there kind of, I'm leading the witness a little bit on this.
I
I kind
understand
of
what you're
know the answer, but it does seem like there's this central body that's the same, but not, all the manufacturers aren't 100% compliant in certain areas.
Okay, you bring up a really good point. There's a core central area that has to be the same for things to work. And outside of that, I have let's take your example between Digitrax and NCE. Digitrax has
So I'm definitely going to leave that in because he made the comment that I made a very good point. So of course I'll leave that as part of the video. So the few videos I've edited, I didn't worry about the audio, but it was only train layout rides. I did have to lower some clips because it was louder than others. Yeah, so Adam, one of the things that I talk about is there's something called normalize audio, and I'll just show you. Basically, you can just highlight all the clips. You click on normalize audio, and then I've got it set to sample the peak with a target level of minus 2.5 dB, and I set it up independent. And I just click one button, and it basically it levels everything out. If you are doing layout videos, I would look at your sound on those videos, because a layout video with good sound can make it a lot easier to watch the video than a layout video with bad sound. It's just kind of, unfortunately, it's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately. So
way
let's keep going.
to connect locomotives in a multiple unit process. And NCE has a different way to do it.
Yes.
Now, you can be a fan of one or the other. They are all the same. Soundtracks, on the other hand, has digital dynamic exhaust, which they monitor the load on the motor.
Let's go back a little bit. Hold on.
Much like in the real world where you got heavy tonnage. Soundtracks, on the other hand, has one method, comparisons is between EE has a different way to do it.
Yes.
Now, you can be a fan of one or the other, but the central part all works the same.
All right, so I'm going to cut that there.
One of my favorite comparisons is between two of the really good decoders on the market.
Maybe
which
I'll
is Soundtracks
maybe I'm going to delete
and
that.
ESU.
Because this is actually a good
ESU,
example.
Has one method of doing.
I'm trying to
things
find a
which
spot to
which
end
they call
this
drive
part of the
hole,
conversation.
and that's where you key some stuff into your throttle and you rev up the engine before the train actually starts to move. Much like in the real world where you got heavy tonnage. Soundtracks, on the other hand, has digital dynamic exhaust, which they monitor the load on the motor and they change the sound of the prime mover according to that load. But yet, on my model railroad right here, I have Soundtracks decoders and I have ESU decoders, and they both work. They just work a little differently.
All right, so we're going to stop that there because that was
Now, some people will say, well, it should all be
okay. Yep. So we're going to stop that there just because I don't want to, I want to get into the next clip, and we're 6 minutes in now. So we're just going to find kind of the next let's see the next question I asked. Let's see if I can find it.
declared for something later, and then there are others that are assigned to the man.
Okay, so we're talking about CVs. So I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm watching the video to see when I start talking, and then once I see that I'm starting to talk, I zoom in a little bit and I look for the change in the audio to go back to the beginning of my question. So let's see.
Edge of being bad.
So it looks like here's about where my question's going to start. I'm going to cut this out, remove that section. And you talk about items being compliant, and until I talked to you, like, I knew there was a DCC standard, but I didn't realize that manufacturers could actually apply to be